All right, we need to talk about how to start the puddle and our travel angle and work angle. Now, there are two different ways that I like you to try and start these puddles. The easier way to start with as you're learning is the scratch start method. Okay, the scratch start method is exactly what it sounds like. You're just scratching or dragging this electrode along your workpiece. As you start and as you're learning to perfect this, they can be somewhat long, but really they need to be as small as possible, just a tiny little scratch mark. Otherwise, if you're dragging this along your workpiece, every time it arcs along your plate, that can cause defects. And when you get into trying to get certified or things like that, that's cause for failure. Now, the scratch method, like I mentioned, that's the easier one to start with. The better one, because you can pinpoint exactly where your arc is going to start, is the tap method. You just touch the plate and lift off, almost like you're just cracking it like a whip. As you touch and lift off, and you've got to maintain that correct arc gap, which is 1/8 of an inch. So you would tap and lift to just 1/8 inch, and then you'd be able to keep working. Now, your work angle is the angle from forward to back. All right, so front to back away from you, that's your work angle. Your travel angle, that is left to right. Okay, when you're welding with stick welding, you have to always pull. Okay, an easy way to remember this is slag. If there's slag, you drag. All right, and there's a slag coating on these welds we'll get to, and that's created by our flux compound. But if there's slag, you drag. It's an easy way to remember. So if you're right-handed, your travel angle is going to be in the direction you are traveling, which would be to the right. Now, you're allowed like a 20 to 30 or so work angle. Sometimes that can change depending on what you're working on, but your travel angle is from left to right. Work angle, front to back. All right. Now, one thing that can be really frustrating as a beginner stick welder is having your electrode get stuck to the workpiece, and it can be really frustrating because you're trying to get this thing to start. It's not as easy like the MIG welder where you just pull the trigger and the machine does the work for you and starts the arc. You have to initiate it. There's some safety issues when we get to talking about this though, and I want you to remember, and for the test you need to know. So when you go to start this electrode and it gets stuck to the workpiece and you can't get it to snap away, I want you to first just try to snap it away. But if you can't get it to pull away from your workpiece, really easy to remember, just unclamp your electrode. Okay, just squeeze down on this stinger. You're always gonna have your thumb on this clamp lever so that you can release it. Okay, so when it gets stuck, because it's gonna happen, you just either first try to just snap it away. If that won't snap it away, just unclamp it, and then you can, with a glove on, because this could be real hot, or maybe even not a glove. If you can see smoke coming off this flux compound, don't just grab hold of it with your hand. Get a pair of pliers or let it cool down and then snap it away.